Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much investing your time with us on the Pi Day afternoon. Today, we have an amazing panel on preparing for undergrad research and internships. My name is Yu Chan Chen Hao, a math professor at PCC, the coordinator for Pi Day 2021, and I'm one of the moderators. We will take a few moments for each of us to briefly introduce themselves and tell a little bit about their background. Now, let's start with Dr. Ashcroft.
Oh, hi, I'm Jared Ashcroft. I teach chemistry at Pasadena City College.
And Isabel?
Hello, everyone. My name is Isabel. I went to PCC and I transferred in 2018 to UC Berkeley. This is where now I'm a research associate in a lab that and where I did undergrad research in. And I'm currently in charge of carrying out and documenting routine experiments. I also do general lab maintenance and greenhouse upkeep.
Thank you. Melanie?
Hi, everyone. I am a first-year PhD student at UCI in the Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology. And more specifically, I study microbial ecology. And even more specific than that, my projects focus on how fungal evolution and biogeochemical functioning are influenced by things like drought and wildfires, which are both expected to increase in frequency as climate change happens. So I'll be able to tell you guys more about the graduate school experience.
Oh, thank you. And then Joel?
Hey everyone, my name's Joel. I attended PCC for a few years. I transferred to CSULB in 2016. I'm now currently a second-year graduate student at Caltech conducting organic chemistry research in the Stoltz lab. Specifically, I do methods work, and right now I'm working on stereo control of the Ireland-Clayson rearrangement. But yeah, just organic chemistry methods research.
Thank you. Justice?
Hi, I'm Justice Robinson. I am an undergrad, a junior at the University of North Carolina, where I major in neuroscience and biology. I am also a 2020 Goldwater Scholar, so I'll be on the panel speaking more about the Goldwater Scholarship. And I conduct neuroscience research with the Froelich Lab out of the School of Medicine here at UNC.
Thank you. And Kevin?
Hi. Yeah, hello. My name is Kevin Scroggins. I go to Cal Poly Pomona. I'm studying computer science and applied mathematics. Yeah, I'll mainly be speaking about the internship experience, and I also do research in human-computer interaction. And yeah, that is it for me.
Wonderful.
Maybe we could go on and see if we
Okay.
can figure out, Jenny, about the thing, and we could start with
All right.
the student panel and maybe come back to her, or have
Okay,
Justice
sure.
go first.
Okay. All right. So Victor?
Hi, my name is Victor, and I am a third-year student studying aerospace engineering. I stayed 3 years at Pasadena City College, and now I'm transferred to UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. And I'll be providing some information and experiences on numerous NASA programs that NASA provides, which includes NASA's Community College Aerospace Scholar, and also the space program, which stands for LUCY, Student Pipeline Accelerator and Competency Enablers program, which I'll be talking about later.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So now, Jared, you can start with the all those questions.
All right, well, we'll start with the student panel, and then we'll try and get Jenny back to talk about the JPL internships.
Okay.
So thanks. Well, first of all, thanks everyone for coming to the research and internship panel. And we want to, Justice has already introduced herself, but we're going to take the first about 5 minutes, and Justice is going to just share her experiences of undergraduate research and her experience as a Goldwater scholar, and how students at community college can apply for Goldwater scholarships as well. So thanks, Justice.
Thank you. So I put together a little presentation, so I will share my screen. Okay, so I am a 2020 Goldwater Scholar, as I mentioned, and I'm just gonna do a quick overview of what it is. So it is the most prestigious undergrad scholarship for STEM majors. Um, so in order to qualify, you have to be a full-time sophomore or junior. And if you're a sophomore or junior now and due to COVID, you aren't full-time, I believe that they've waived that full-time requirement. They are definitely understanding with the different things going on this year. You must intend to pursue a research career in natural sciences, mathematics, or engineering. They want you to have a GPA of at least 3.0 on a 4.0 scale, and you must be a US citizen or permanent resident in this country. So the perks of it would be if you are a sophomore, you're going to receive two different distributions of this, and if you're a junior, you only get it for your senior year. So it is 7,500. I'm a part of the Goldwater Scholar Council, where we are creating a mentorship program where you're partnered with previous scholars. One of my own mentors is a medical doctor from New York who got the Goldwater in 2011. So we're starting a connection where you would have that type of advice. And then there is prestige. There's a lot of prestige amongst them after winning. So research definitely has to be a central part of your career goals. One of the biggest parts of the application is a research essay, where it asks you to kind of flesh out why you chose to research what you did, what type of experience do you have in research, and what are your future plans. So ways to get involved, especially at a community college, because I actually didn't get the Goldwater from the University of North Carolina. I got it from Tulsa Community College in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So the ways I did that at a community college were to ask questions from my teachers, the honor coordinators, anyone that had anything to do with research, get involved. Actually, by attending a program like this sponsored by TCC is how I found out about a lot of the research opportunities at the community college. And they paid off in a big, big, big way because 1 year I was attending, the next year I was presenting. So it happened that fast. GPA management, sometimes you're not as great as with one field than you are with the other. Like I'm great at biology, I'm terrible at chemistry. Just making sure you're managing that GPA and trying to keep it competitive and to show leadership skills. One of the big things with the Goldwater is they want to know that you're showing the initiative and the strength to be a leader in the fields that you are going to be pursuing. So those 4 things can make a world of difference, whether you're a freshman now or you're a sophomore. So my own journey to the Goldwater is I started Tulsa Community College at the age of 24. I just dropped a career in life insurance and started because I wanted to be a brain scientist. So, I just went for it. I attended events like this one related to research at TCC. I got research experience through honor classes, which a lot of people don't think of as research experience because it's for a grade. That's not true. And Biology 101, we had a small project that we had to do that was supposed to be creative. So I tested waterways, the pH of waterways, and did a comparison. That is the first thing on my Goldwater application. It showed creativity. It showed that I would still do things even if it wasn't set out for me. I did a biotechnology summer course where a lot of it honestly went over my head, but I got my hands dirty. I showed that I could work as a team and as an individual, and together with microbiology, anatomy, all 4 of those things were on my application for Goldwater, and all 4 of those things were done at a community college. And a lot of times people are a little worried because you're going up against like Johns Hopkins and UNC. Does not matter. If you put the work there, 2-year colleges are just as competitive. I applied early. So I started in July and worked on the application through December. I won, and now that led me to UNC and working at a really prestigious lab doing neural oscillation research. So if anybody has any questions, I will definitely be around, but that is all I have here.
All right. No, thanks, Justice. That's awesome. And PCC is starting a Goldwater sort of mentorship program where we do mentor students with about 3 or 4 different faculty members to prepare their applications. My advice, though, is that you really should start getting into research now, not in November or December, whenever the applications happen. We do have 2 nominees this year for Goldwater at PCC. And we'll find out in about 2 weeks, actually, whether or not they get it this year or not. So thanks, Justice, for sharing. And we'll spend maybe 15 or 20 minutes now talking to past students about their research abilities. And we'll stop a little bit early and see if we can get Jenny Tang from JPL to talk about her internship. So we've got our panel of students. All of these are awesome students who've gone on to PhD programs or in internships. And we just wanted to kind of get feedback from you. And maybe we'll start with Joel. Joel, what did you do at Pasadena City College to kind of prepare you to get involved in research? And how did that research kind of affect your life going forward?
So my first experience with undergrad research at PCC was through the eSTEM program, which I don't think is there anymore, unfortunately. It was the eCure program through eSTEM. And that essentially just meant we would go in on the weekends and work on projects. I was working under Dr. Jaramillo. And that was like my first experience outside of the classroom, where I got to apply what I was learning in like sort of a lab setting. And that's what kind of first triggered my interest in research, because there wasn't any defined answers like in class. You basically had to think your way out of problems. And then it was Dr. Ashcroft that suggested I apply to an internship at UNL, the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. And initially with that application, since I didn't have too much research experience, I just wrote about what I was interested in and what I would like to do, and kind of just conveyed my passion for conducting research. And that got me that internship. And then everything kind of just snowballed from there, which was pretty awesome. And I transferred into CSULB and joined the BUILD program there. But I think undergraduate research mostly helped me to weed out what I didn't want to do. It was kind of like a way to find out what I really was interested in, specifically research-wise. And it actually wasn't until the summer before graduating Cal State Long Beach that I did a research in an organic chemistry lab at Caltech, which is the lab I'm currently working in. And that really like opened my eyes to organic chemistry, and I realized that that's what I wanted to focus on. So it was like the summer before graduating. So I went in with not too much organic chemistry experience. So it was kind of a steep learning curve, but the experience just helped me like figure out what I wanted to do. And so it just goes to show that like, you know, even once going into like a PhD program, you don't need too much experience as long as you kind of like you figure out what you're trying to do or what really interests you. And undergraduate research really helps you do that. You can try all sorts of different things and kind of weed out what you do like and what you don't like, and figure out like where your passions lie.
I think that's really great advice too. Like a lot of times students come to me about, oh, I can't do this undergraduate research experience because it's not in my field. And I'm like, you don't really have a field yet. You're at a community college. Like whatever internship experience comes up, take it, you know, and do it and see. You might learn something that, wow, that's really awesome. My first one was toxicology. I had to mess around with rats, and I never thought I would do that. So, you know, if you have a chance, take it. Kevin, I know I've heard about a really cool program that you've been involved with in internships at Cal Poly Pomona. Could you kind of share your experience and how you got involved and sort of like the impact that that's had on your life?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess I started off with my first internship. Well, I went to PCC, and my first internship at PCC was with the Southern California Earthquake Center. And then after that, I got an internship at IBM, and I was on there doing research at the Watson Lab in Cambridge. And then that was when I was transferring into Cal Poly. So the summer transferring into Cal Poly, I was and then after that, I was at Adobe, and I was a research intern at Adobe. And then the next summer, I was at Snapchat. And then the summer after that, which was this past one, I was at Zillow. And I guess my experience, I would say what I did to try to prepare myself for the experience is I would just be really proactive in looking for opportunities, and I would still apply to opportunities even though I may not have been qualified for it. And attention to the rejections so much and just keep applying regardless of how many rejections I may have received.
No, I think that's like some of the best advice out there. Like you always get the answer no if you don't apply. That's what I always say, right? Like I've been rejected by pretty much every entity out there, and sometimes that fuels you for the next one. And the goal is once you get that first internship, it just snowballs and you keep getting more and more and more and more. And that's, you got to apply though to get that first one. Melanie, I know that you've been in a lot of different programs with the Build and at Cal State Long Beach. Now you're at UC Irvine. Can you kind of talk about your experiences in Build and your undergraduate research at PCC, and how did getting involved at research at PCC really help you prepare for UC Irvine?
So I think doing research at Pasadena City College, I learned a lot about research fundamentals, like working on a project and then analyzing the data, making a poster and writing about the research you did, and then presenting it, traveling, going to your first conferences. Those are all such valuable research experiences that I got like really early on as at a community college. And just knowing that I did enjoy doing all these things was safe to say that I probably will really enjoy graduate school. And so I know you told me about an opportunity at Purdue University to do an internship in mechanical engineering, which is pretty random because I was always like a biology, chemistry kind of person. And so when I applied, I was really surprised to get in, and Isabel too. So we did that internship together as like two biologists being mechanical engineers, and it was a perfect experience. And yeah, once I had all of those opportunities under my belt, it just puts you so ahead. And you have it gave me such a head start that when I went to Long Beach State, I hadn't joined a lab yet, but I still got into the Build program there because I did Build at PCC, and I had already like a lot of experiences. And so it did kind of have that snowball effect. So I just continued doing research in a bioinformatics lab at Long Beach. So again, something a little different than what I was used to. And so the Long Beach people, I had a lot of people holding me accountable and helping me with my graduate applications. So I had a lot of people in the program reading my essays and, helping me through the process. And it really helped me again. And I think it really made all the difference. And what Kevin was saying about the rejections, you just gotta just accept it and not let it get to you and still keep applying. And UCI was the only PhD program that I got into, but I still got in. So it doesn't make a difference.
That's really, maybe Isabel, you could build on what Melanie said about, you both were part of the Build program. You both went to Purdue University. How is it working in a research group with other people, and how did sort of the camaraderie and that network help you to get through community college and UC Berkeley once you went there? And then how did it kind of lead to the job that you have now?
Yeah, sure. So in PCC, I had a very, very good support system with you as my mentor, with Mel, as such a close friend. And when we went together to Purdue, we were the odd ones out because we were the only ones that were not engineers or math majors. But I think, and I think Mel can relate to this as well, is that in that opportunity, even though we weren't mechanical engineers, we did learn a little bit, just like the very basics of coding, which I know Mel used later on, even though like we both used like different languages. So like I used Python in my undergraduate research in Berkeley, and she used R, but we learned MATLAB. And that kind of, you kind of start building on those like languages, because when you know the basics, the logic is fairly similar. So to have her with me as a biologist who doesn't know how to code, even though everyone else did, was a very good experience. We were there to support each other. And I think that's what you should do in any internship or project setting, because being in a team is pretty much everything. You are going to have them as, you know, your support system. And you are working with these people to get a common goal, which is to finish your project in a good way. And that's very important, because when you're doing these internships, if you do a good job, you're going to get most likely a very good recommendation letter from your mentor. And recommendation letters are very important if you want to like go on do other internships, because if someone can vouch for you and put a good word for you, then that's going to be way better than that's basically going to set you apart from someone who maybe got a lukewarm letter saying that, oh yeah, I did work with this person. So yeah, I think building relationships in your internships or projects is key.
Yeah, and I think that network is really important, because, you know, having recommendation letters from faculty members that can really say what you've done is actually very important. Victor, could you tell us about I know you have sort of unique internship experiences. I think it's more work-based as opposed to four-year university-based. Could you kind of tell us about your program and what you did at PCC in order to kind of prepare you for those opportunities?
Yeah, so for the two programs that I was involved in, the NASA Community College Aerospace Scholar Program, which from now I'll just call it NCAS, is a program specifically for community college students. So like I really recommend everybody to go and apply to that program. So what we did in that program is I will categorize it as a workforce development program. It prepares you to work in the workforce. So what we did in those programs is we have to basically come up with an entire mission based on the prompt that we're given, the budget we're given, the mass constraint and the load, the battery constraints, all of that. We have to develop a mission as a team, and all the team is all of students from other community colleges. So it really learned how to, you know, work together, communicate via online to each other, and making that mission successful. And as for the Lucy Student Pipeline Accelerator and Competency Enabler Mission Concept Academy, I'll just call it the space from now on. I would say it is a next level NCAS program so I'm currently in that program right now, and it is a 12-week program where you work with other students, and we have to, at the end, we have to present a preliminary design report, which is a report that I think Jenny probably knows more about this than me. I think it is a report where if you want to propose something to NASA, you have to write this report, and it details all the requirement that whatever your project has to meet, including like the risk that it takes, the cost, the schedule of production, and all of that. So we have to put all of that inside a report, and people will have to submit that to NASA if they want whatever program, whatever mission get approved and get funding. So we are making preliminary design report for our mission, which the prompt that they've given us is to develop a high altitude exploration vehicle for Venus. So we have to do a lot of research and just, again, working, communicating with other students. So I say it is like, try something like this, and it really gives you an experience of what it's like in the workforce. And I'll type in the names of those programs in the chat later after I finish, and also some of the links. So yeah, really develops your leadership skills, your communication skills, all these soft skills that employers are looking for when they're hiring for positions, full-time or internships. And also, like, it develops your like actual hard skills. You know how to make a budget, or make a org chart or Gantt chart, create a schedule, so stuff like that.
All right, no, cool. Yeah, and if you could type in it looks like people want to know what the program name is. Maybe to the entire group. I know we've only got probably about 5 more minutes left before we try and see if we can get Jenny back in to talk about the JPL internship. What's the most impactful, thing, or what's the most impactful preparation that the undergraduate research or these internships have done for you in order to prepare you for sort of your academic journey and even eventual getting into the workplace? Like, what has undergraduate research done for you? And I'll let anyone that wants to kind of start off.
I could start. I feel like undergraduate research has basically become the norm now. Like, it's something essential that you need to have to stand out in any application process. So I think it's intimidating to start from ground zero without any experience to try to get some of these internships. But like, once you're able to start some type of undergraduate research, like, it kind of just, the ball keeps rolling from there, and you just gain more and more experience. And I think the thing that helped me the most is, like I had mentioned, even though I didn't really realize what I wanted to focus on until much later in my undergrad career, all the experiences I had before that weren't really a waste of time, because I developed a lot of like my hands were really good and my lab skills were really good. I had good technique. So even like when I got to Caltech, my organic chemistry knowledge wasn't that great, but my hands and my lab technique were really good. And there was other students that were kind of like the opposite. Their knowledge was great, but they didn't have a lot of lab experience. And so actually my research took off really fast, because my lab technique was like, I had so many internships and so many years of just being in a lab and being comfortable around the instruments in the lab, the techniques in the lab. And that paid off a lot. And so, like, you can always learn new information. You can always read literature and pick up knowledge along the way. But that like hands-on practice is really invaluable. And so I think that really, like, all the internships that I did in my undergrad along the way just really helped develop that a lot. And it wasn't, until towards the end where it's like, okay, this is what I want to focus on now. And now I can just like build up my background knowledge on that. So I think just the technique itself and just getting comfortable in the lab and being able to write about your research, that's all like really helpful stuff that these internships really help with.
Cool. Anyone else? Is there any impact, maybe not just in the lab, but any community-wide impact? Has there been, where you're now doing undergraduate research and you could be a role model to students that are from your community in order to kind of to give back? Has anybody seen that occur through their research experience?
I know I'm not a PCC student.
Oh, go for it,
Did I
Justice.
check?
Thank you.
I especially in the last year, with a lot of talk about social justice. There was also, on the flip side, a lot of talk of the lack of positive Black role models. So then Intera, the like aspiring Black neuroscientist. So that kind of did a lot for children. So we ended up starting a program called Start Science, which is also made by a Goldwater scholar, to kind of include a range of visibility of what scientists look like. So that's helped quite a bit.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. I know because I want to get to Jenny here, and is your sound working now?
I think that she's not in.
I think I
Oh,
am
it's working.
here. Can you
Okay.
hear me now?
Yeah. Okay. So, is there any kind of last comments from the panel about undergraduate research that you want to say? And then, if not, we're going to go and have Jenny kind of give her presentation on JPL. All right. Well, if not, well, thanks all the students for coming and kind of just talking. I know that was really quick. We only had a short time. If you're willing to share your email address and have answer questions from any students that want to ask, if you provide them in the chat, you don't have to, but it'd be awesome. But otherwise, we'll move to Jenny, and she's going to talk really quick about a JPL internship opportunities.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And my apologies about the audio issue there. Hopefully you'll hear me. You hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again for having me, and apologies again for the audio issue. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's jumped in and tried to help resolve these issues for me. Really appreciate it. People are texting me or chatting with me privately in the window, so I really appreciate that. Goes to show that we work better as a team, right? All right, so first off, my name's Jenny Tu. I'm with the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and I'm the Education Project Manager for internship programs ranging from community college level all the way up to graduate level. So I'm happy to provide an overview of our internship programs that are STEM specific, offered through the Education Office. So before I do that, I do have some slides that I would like to share with you. So I will share my screen.
Hey, Jenny, do you want to send it to me? I could share for you.
Yeah, that would be great. Hey, Brandon.
Hey, what's up? This is my coworker, by the way.
So sorry for the technical difficulties. Not sure what's going on there. Give me 1 second as I do that. Do we want to move on to Q&A real quick as I send the slides over to Brandon?
Yeah, maybe really quick. One thing that I can do is at Pasadena City College, we do have an undergraduate research program. It used to be called eCare, Early Career Undergraduate Research Experience, and now it's morphed into a new remote research program. So I do want to make an invitation for any students and faculty who want to participate. We meet every Friday at 12, and this last Friday we had University of New Mexico scientists come and talk about microelectromechanical systems. We're going to have talks, we're going to have literature reviews, we're going to have student presentations. So if any student wants to participate in our undergraduate research program, I'm going to put my email in the chat, and you could email me and I'll send you an invite to the Zoom meeting that we have. And we are going to be opening up our lab soon, probably in this summer. We have 7 students right now that are going to PCC to work on research because that's all we're allowed. But in the summer, we're going to start opening up to more students. So anyone who wants to participate, here is my email address. Just email me, and anyone could do it. If you're not a PCC student, you could participate in the research. I think I don't know if Chloe's here. We have a student that's from, I think it's Alabama or Mississippi, who actually comes on a regular basis. We have students at other community colleges. We've had students from all over that come and join our meetings. So if you're interested, just send me an email. It looks like we have a question from Dave. Dave, you want to answer it? You want me to just ask it?
Sure, I can ask.
Go for it.
I saw a typo in there. I just want to add a question for the panels. I've spoken to a lot of my students, and a lot of times they feel really intimidated about applying to an internship because they feel that they're not ready, or that they don't qualify, or that they're not going to be successful. And I was wondering if there's anything that you could say to them to help them feel better about that.
And say something about that. Well, I mean, of course, you're definitely going to miss any of the shots you don't take. And I know that sounds very cliche, but it's the truth. And at the end of the day, you just got to really if I find it really, in my experience, it was great to show my essays around to faculty, to my mentor, which was back then Dr. Ashcroft, and that gave me not validation but great advice in the sense of what I was getting wrong. Maybe I wasn't getting things right, like making a very compelling point about why I should be able to get that opportunity. So that helped, but it is very intimidating to apply to internships or a job or basically anything. But I can't tell you how many jobs I got turned down for. But you just gotta take that chance, and it is way better to start somewhere than to just not do it. So that's what I would say to them.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I always say too, I mean, if you apply and you get it, then you just have a huge win, and you never know what's going to happen. It's always good to just, I tell my students, apply to everything you possibly can apply for.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you, in your statement, you just convey your passion and convey what interests you and what you would like to do in the field, whatever you want to focus on, and just really show that you have an interest for that and a drive, I think that you can't go wrong. And that's really helpful. They really see, they really, if you communicate that passion and that drive, they really pick up on it. And even if you don't have previous experience, they can tell that you have the heart and you're willing to at least try. So I think that's pretty helpful. That's what I did for my first application when I didn't have any experience, and it seemed to work.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. It's true what Isabel and Jared said is, if the worst that could happen if you apply to the internship is just not getting the internship. But if you don't apply, you're just definitely not going to get the internship. And there's always something more you could do. Like, if you know exactly what professor you want to work with for this internship, you could contact them in advance and kind of like meet with them. And so they already know what you look like and they can connect your application to your face. And if you tell them that you're really passionate about it, it could put you really ahead if you don't have any prior experience.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. But right before we move to Jenny, the one thing I also advise is ask your faculty at PCC to help. Like, don't be afraid to show your essays. Don't be afraid to get advice from faculty who've done it before, and even other students. Like, a lot of times students they don't ask for help. Feel free to ask your faculty at PCC for advice on how to apply for internships, because it can be intimidating at first. But we have Jenny now is going to share the JPL, Jet Propulsion Lab STEM internship opportunities. So thanks, Jenny.
Great. Thank you, Jared. Third time's the charm. Thank you, Brandon, for driving the slides. So again, my name's Jenny Tew with JPL, and just really happy to be here today to share with you some information about STEM internships offered through the Education Office. Next slide. Okay, so very quickly, I think everybody here knows that NASA, or National Aeronautics and Space Administration, is the agency that's responsible for our science and technology related to air and space. And the vision for NASA is to discover and expand knowledge for the benefit of humanity. Next slide. Just wanted to show real quick a map of the United States with all of the field centers, NASA field centers and facilities, including the International Space Station. So as you notice, in California, we're very lucky to have 3 NASA centers located in our own backyard, JPL being one of them, which is located in Southern California. Next slide, please. So JPL, brief overview of who we are and what we do. So JPL is a NASA center located in Pasadena, just about 5-10 miles away from PCC. We are responsible for robotic exploration of space. But a little bit about our history. We were founded by Caltech in 1938, and 20 years after that, we joined the NASA family. And currently, You may have heard of Perseverance rover. That was a project or a mission that JPL leads for NASA, and we're very happy and very thrilled that the landing was successful. And currently, the lab has over $2 billion or more business days with over 6,000 employees, and we have over 22 active missions. Next slide. All right, so the meat of this presentation is to share with you the STEM internship opportunities or programs that are offered. So what I have here is a highlight of 4 different programs. However, I would like to say that there are more than just these 4 programs. And I invite you to go to our website, listed here at the bottom, to really learn about all the different programs that are offered and see which one is the best fit for you. But for today's purposes, I'd like to highlight the Maximizing Student Potential in STEM program, the MSP program, our year-round internship program, YIP, our summer internship program, which is SIP, and our Student Independent Research Intern program, SIRI. All of these programs are offered to students at the community college level all the way up to graduate level, and it is offered year-round throughout the year. Most of our participants do take advantage of the summer break to then participate in our internship programs. However, all programs are offered throughout the year, except for SIRI. SIRI is only offered during fall and spring. Next slide, please. All right, so all of our internship opportunities within the education office is an educational experience. We provide opportunities to students to complete research projects that are guided by their mentors over a period of 10 weeks or more. For the SIRI program, the minimum participation is 15 weeks. And all of our participants are required to complete a project plan, do a report, paper, and deliver a final presentation. Additionally, these programs are offered from a minimum of 9 hours per week all the way up to 40 hours per week. So there are full-time as well as part-time opportunities offered through the program. And in addition to working on the project, we also provide professional development activities for students to network with each other, with other mentors on lab, as well as hear from renowned scientists and engineers, speak about their research, and get to meet them. Next slide, please. All right, so what are the eligibility requirements? So all of the programs that I'm referring to, the MSP, the YIP, the SIRI, and the SIP program are open to U.S. citizens as well as lawful permanent residents. So green card holders are eligible to apply for those opportunities. They are open to currently enrolled undergraduate or graduate students pursuing STEM degrees. Minimum GPA requirement is a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. And your first internship has to be at least a minimum of 10 weeks or more. And in addition to that, SIRI participants are required to have a faculty sponsorship or nomination from participating colleges. Next slide. Okay, so benefits of participating in one of these programs. In addition to coming with a stipend, most of our internship offers travel and housing allowances. I have to say, though, that SIRI, because it is specifically a training program, it does not come with a stipend. Instead, it comes with independent course credit. So as a SIRI participant, you'll have to sign up for an independent course credit unit to participate. But in addition to stipend and housing and travel, students have the opportunity to be guided by a mentor, a scientist or an engineer, to complete the research from start to finish. And the opportunity, there will also be opportunity to co-author papers and or presentations with their mentors. We did a recent study in fall 2020, and we found that over 200 research papers have been co-authored by our former and current active interns. And most notably, I wanted to point out that we had a student who did an earth science poster at the national NASB conference, and his poster was selected as the best undergraduate presentation at that conference. So we do have lots of opportunities for participants to co-author on papers and presentations. And in addition to that, we have, part of the internship program is to highlight students for full-time opportunities. So we have been successful in converting a majority of our interns to full-time employees at the lab. I think in FY20, we've recorded about 85 interns who were converted to full-time employees. Next slide. All right, so this slide shows you a little sliver of what we do, different research areas and majors that we typically see in each of our sections. So the first set of research areas is the science area. So that includes majors like astrophysics, astronomy, biology, earth science, and so on. So within the science section, our scientists are analyzing and interpreting data returned from spacecraft, but they also play a key role in shaping future space missions. And so some of the skills and interest areas include data analysis and data reduction, as well as research and laboratory instrumentation. And then the next section, which is our engineering section in the middle there, includes majors of all engineering disciplines, you know, your aerospace, your electrical materials, mechanical engineering, and systems engineering. And so the engineering section, our engineers are innovative role models. They design and build spacecraft and instruments that make a world of discoveries possible. And the skills and interest areas include engineering design processes, computer-aided design, materials and fluid dynamics, as well as programming and robotics. And then the last section on this slide is our technology section. So the majors that are included here are chemical and bioengineering, computer science, computer engineering, electronics and optics, and so on. But within this technology area, JPL technology goes to space and beyond. Our technologists are building applications to connect us with faraway spacecraft and develop creative solutions for problems that affect humans on Earth. And some of the skills that we see here are electronic circuits, programming, operating systems, superconducting technologies. So these are just a little sliver and flavor of what we do at JPL. But if you notice throughout all three sections, the skills and interests that runs through all three sections with a common thread is the analytical, critical, and innovative thinking. That really is an importance at the lab. So take a moment to really note that for reference. Next slide, please. This is my favorite slide out of this slide deck. It really gives a full picture, I guess a picture of all the different interns that have participated in our programs in years past. Here you'll see that there are, a diverse group of students who work on internships at JPL. We've had students who worked on Perseverance rover to help keep the spacecraft as contamination-free as possible. We've had students who worked on the Spitzer team to help document space telescope data. And then we've also had students who actually work on new concepts for the next Mars rover. So at JPL, our internship opportunities really put you to work in contributing to our research and moving NASA's missions along. With the internship, you're not making coffee or making copies for your mentors. You're actually making real-world contribution to the projects. Next slide. So if you're interested in an internship, go to the link here. First, you'll need to review all of the programs listed on that website, then select Apply Now. Once you've done that, select the student application, complete the application with the different section. It'll take you probably 10 to 15 minutes at most to complete the application. But what's really important is to make sure you come to that process with the resume ready. So once you completed each of the section, you'll have a chance to upload your resume and also upload your transcript. And once you do that, then you can go ahead and submit your application. Next slide. Okay. So in closing, I just wanted to say that, all of these folks here pictured on this slide have ties to JPL. They were recently selected for the initial team of NASA astronauts serving on the Artemis team. And all three have participated in JPL internship programs in the past. Stephanie Wilson, farthest to the left, is a former JPL employee. Jessica Watson and Warren Hoberg have both participated in JPL internships in the past. So we do have ties to the next astronaut team of Artemis team. Next slide, please. And then I wanted to just say happy Pi Day here. If you're interested in additional activities to participate in for Pi Day, check us out at this link here. There are different challenges that you can participate in, as well as there are lessons provided for educators as well. Thank you so much for that.
All right, thanks. If Jenny, could you put your email in the chat and be willing to answer questions online? I know we don't really have time for questions because we have the next Pi Day activity starting actually at 3:02 about a minute ago. So thank you again, Jenny, and all the panelists. And I hope that everybody enjoys the rest of the panels and Pi Day and go see the student presentations.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, Dr. Cheng.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Now we are going to the next panel.